Hello, everyone. I'm Lynn Villafuerte. On behalf of the Diversity and Inclusion Committee, let me welcome you to the fourth session of this Diversity and Inclusion Summit. If you have joined us previously, you've heard every moderator remind everyone that all participants that this live stream is moderated by ACM CGRAPH. We ask all your comments to stay respectful of others and respect ACM policy against harassment. That means that you have to exercise consideration and respect in your speech and action, refrain from demeaning, discriminatory, or harassing behavior in speech, and be mindful of your fellow participants. There should be no intimidating, harassing, abusive, discriminatory, derogatory, or demeaning speech or actions by any participants that will be tolerated. In addition, we have been announcing that the final session for today's summit will be live streamed only and will not be available afterwards. So for the past day and a half, we've been looking at diversity through a variety of lenses. We've become familiar with our efforts to either increase or broaden, tell stories about or inform about diversity. This particular session will explore the perspective of building a creative community in Sri Lanka. Our speaker, Purnima Megamana, is a filmmaker, an animator, and a social entrepreneur. Furthermore, she serves as the Director of Youth Development at Shilpa Sayura Foundation and an Adobe Creative Scholar. So with that, let's listen to this talk.
Thank you, Lynn, for the kind introduction. So let me share my screen first. Okay. Welcome, everyone, to the session Grassroots to Global, a story of bringing diversity and inclusion to creative education and industry in Sri Lanka. So first of all, I would tell you a little bit about Sri Lanka. So Sri Lanka is a beautiful island in the Indian Ocean with a heritage of creativity. If you look at the map here, you can see it's just right below India, a small island. And when you talk about Sri Lanka's creative education and industry, Sri Lanka has a quality creative education by state and private universities. Also, Sri Lanka has a growing creative industry with studios doing international as well as local projects. But that's not what I'm going to talk about today. What I'm going to talk about is what, even though we have a growing creative industry in Sri Lanka, most of it is concentrated into Colombo. And if you don't get selected into a government university to study, get a creative education, which is very competitive to get into, private creative education is very expensive for a lower class family. And also English is a major language barrier for rural youth. So this is where Shilpa Sayura Foundation's Adobe Youth Voices program come in. So with Adobe Youth Voices Sri Lanka, we introduced quality creative education in local languages to marginalized youth, to create the next generation of creative professionals. This program was implemented by Shilpa Sayura Foundation with support from Adobe, Taking It Global, and UNICEF. We reached multicultural communities around Sri Lanka. If you can see the map here, there is these are all the places that we reached, and we did training programs around Sri Lanka through Adobe Youth Voices Sri Lanka. We trained youth who already had a diverse set of experiences and engaged them in creating stories for effective social change, bringing diversity into the creative industry in the process. So you can see here that these are some of the youth that were in our programs. And now I would like to talk about some of the strategies we used and the way we conducted our programs and special things we did to achieve this. The first thing is play and create. So in our programs, we started in the beginning, it wasn't actually media creation. It was more of youth playing with media creation. And we started small with photography and digital art and getting them to create their personal stories. After that, we build on that to go into professional photography, film, animation, graphic design, and give them professional skills. But we started very small. And with time, when the more the youth created, their work got better. Even like some youth went into winning local and international awards. I will highlight some of them in the speech later on. And the next strategy we used is, like I said, local language content. So Sri Lanka has 3 main languages: Sinhala, English, and Tamil. So for a lot of rural youth, they either speak Sinhala, Tamil, or both. And English is a big barrier for a majority of the youth in the country. So we created local language content for creative education. We conducted our sessions in local languages, encouraged media creation in local language. And also, we encourage them to focus on local stories that comes from their community, stories about the issues they face. So this actually made youth very comfortable to truly express themselves and talk about what they truly feel about the issues or whatever they want to express through media. And this was also a reason where like a lot of highly impactful media pieces that came out of the program. And the other thing is creating with a purpose. So in addition to teaching about creative skills, the youth also learned democracy, human rights, and United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, which actually helped them to understand the issues that their community is facing. Youth express their voices on community issues through media, and also this gave them a sense of purpose, creating with a purpose, and that they're contributing to something bigger, not just creating something. So actually, there is a good example in 2014 floods. Our youth were able to bring a lot of support into their communities, creating media about the flood victims and sharing them on social networks. The next thing is community integration. When you talk about community integration, we actually became a part of the community we went to. We made sure that the resource people that went into the community is truly integrated with the community and follow their customs. And also the village provided us with food and lodging. We brought our youth into, and then the youth we had in the villages, we brought them into city workshops and integrated with the rural youth and urban youth who are in our programs. So the youth from different locations in our programs got to interact and do joint productions together, learn from each other, and share experiences. We give them training and connected them on social media. All this helped to build greater connection among youth in the program as well as the youth and the program. The next strategy is community resources. So wherever we went with our programs, we always tried to use the community resources available. Sri Lanka has a network of telecenter computers, that is computer labs called Nanasala. And wherever we can, we use those resources to and labs for our programs. And in certain places, to match our programs, we had to improve those labs and upgrade them. We also used schools and other community organization spaces to conduct our workshops and do our sessions. So this actually made the youth feel more comfortable because they're already coming into a space where they know they have been to. And also it helped us to integrate with the community and reduce costs. And the other thing is youth-led productions. So this was a special focus on our program, where all the production, everything that was made through the program was youth-led, and the mentors supported them. And the productions were also owned by youth. This led to the youth making a lot of mistakes, but they also learned from them. I'll tell you a story. So one of our youth teams actually traveled about 200 kilometers to shoot a film. And so they were collaborating with this village called Yahugala. So like Yahugala youth and this youth team was collaborating on creating a short film, and they forgot the storyboard at home. So they forgot to take the storyboard with them, and then they went to shoot the film. And it was not digitized, it was just paper. So actually this was one of their first major productions. So they went there without a storyboard. But even though with that mistake, they made it a learning opportunity. They went to the village and collaborated with the youth in the village to create a new storyboard. And also they made it an opportunity to change the story according to the conditions in the village. So finally, it became a story created by the community. And so mistakes like this, even though they made these mistakes, they learned a lot from these mistakes. And some of these youth has made it into the industry today, becoming rising professionals. Okay, so now I talked a bit about the program. Now I would like to show you a video of this video is actually created by more of the senior youth in the program later on in the program. So this is on street harassment, and they used Charlie Chaplin's Bench short film as a inspiration. So could you please play the video? And the youth team actually tried to use humor as a way to convey their message. Okay. Hope you enjoyed that. So that was one of our entirely youth-led productions. Actually, the actor is from a different part of the country. He's from Taranegala, and the main actress was from Munragala, who is in the other corner of the country. And a lot of the youth who were in this production, you saw the making shots, they were from different parts of the country. Now I will talk about some of the challenges we had to face. So when we were going into these communities and conducting these sessions, one of the biggest challenges we had to face was the resistance from the community, because a similar integrated program hasn't been done before, especially in terms of gender. So even though these places have mixed schools, the girls and boys actually don't sit together. So the girls sit on the left while when the boys sit on the right. So when our program went into these villages, and we encouraged the girls to join the program, and when the villagers see that they're working together, this created like a lot of resistance from the community. So what we actually did was we talked to the community, and we had a lot of community exhibitions to showcase the work that the youth did. We conducted training programs in open spaces where anyone can observe, especially the parents. And also we involved the parents and teachers into the program for support. So eventually, when they understood what we were actually trying to do, they gave us their full support. And then the other issue was the lack of equipment. So a lot of youth that were in our program didn't have the equipment. So this is where the support from Adobe and UNICEF came in. With the funding we got from Adobe and UNICEF, we bought equipment and gave them for the youth. Even when we are not there, the youth could continue with their work creating. And the other thing was, when we went there, we realized it's a very common thing for the youth to drop out from schools after O-levels. So that's mainly because they fail math and English. And we didn't want the youth in our programs to actually drop out from school and go to jobs, because we were training them in creative industry, and we expected at least some of them to join the industry later on. So what we did was we started a special program partnering up with the local telecenter to teach these kids math and English. So with this, I can happily say none of the youth who were in our programs dropped out from O-levels. And then the other thing was distance for communication. So all the youth were in different places, and they couldn't connect all together. We tried to bring them as much as we can, but the communication and the distance was an issue. So we conducted trainings in social media, and we connected them on social networks, all the youth. And also we made sure that before we connect them, we gave them a proper training on cyber safety and social media and all that. Okay, so those were the challenges. Now I would like to talk a little bit, few impact stories. So here I'm highlighting about 5 people who has gone into the creative industry and doing well after our programs, but there are hundreds more stories. So the first story I would like to talk about is Dilan. So Dilan Vikramakirti is from Malpana. It's a rural village in Kandy district. And from the beginning, this is Dilan when he first joined the program, and this is Dilan now. So you can see the difference. So when he first joined the program, he showed strong storytelling skills from the beginning, and the knowledge and the mentoring he got from our program took his skills to the next level. Dilan created his first short film called Friends. Here you can see this is the crew of his first short film. And then in 2009, Dilan won the Best Editor Award for the West TV series. Now he's actually directing his first TV series named Bro, becoming the youngest TV series director in Sri Lanka. So Dilan's creative career was definitely had help from Adobe Youth Voices Sri Lanka program. And then this is Mithun Kumarasinghe. So this is a very interesting story. Mithun joined Adobe Youth Voices in 2017. When he was 17. And then Mithun was actually a very silent and deep character. Almost every day, because I was in the program with Mithun, so I know every day he excused himself in the middle of the session and left. But he always kept coming back. He was also very heavily involved in gang fights and things like that. We later on find this out. So Mithun learned cinematography and with AYV. He was the cameraman for 2 award-winning short films created by our youth, Child Soldier and Fake Post. He was chosen as a delegate for Adobe Youth Voices Summit in US. And then he also won he was part of the team who won World Summit Youth Award. This was in 2013. And Mithun also became an AYV educator and helped to bring the program forward, educating his peers. So actually, the program helped Mithun turn his life around. Today, Mithun has graduated from College of Technology, Maradana, studying mechatronics. For his final project, if you can see, this is the camera head that he created. He created a remote control camera head for his final project, combining his 2 passions, cinematography and electronics. This is Sitma. So Sitma joined AYV as a 13-year-old, very energetic girl, and she wanted to study everything. And she was also in search of a platform to blossom. So Sitma soon became a rising star in the program, and at the age of 14, she led a team of girls to do the entire media coverage of her school sport meet. The school was amazed by this, and the team got a lot more opportunities. So this is Sitma, and this is the team that did the media coverage, and Sitma at some of our earlier sessions. So today, Sitma is a designer for a leading digital media firm in Sri Lanka, and also following a Bachelor of Honors Fashion and Textile Design degree at AOD Colombo. And then we have Romesh Dhananjay. So Romesh is from Lahugala. So Lahugala is a village surrounded by jungle 200 kilometers away from the capital. With AYV, he learned graphic design and photography. Romesh wanted to actually drop out from school due to personal reasons and join the village guard because that was the normal thing to do. But Shilpa Sayura actually gave out some scholarships that year, and Romesh got one of the scholarships and went to Risikala School for Art. So this is a special school for art studies where the students can go and study art. And then now, after that, he continued his journey becoming an educator. So this is, you can see Romesh is actually conducting sessions for some of his peers. Now Romesh is running his own photography studio, providing wedding and event photography services in Colombo. So if it wasn't for AYV, Romesh wouldn't have been in this journey. And then we have Tarika Hansini. So Tarika is also from Lahugala. Tarika interest was in acting and dancing. With Adobe Youth Voices, she improved her skills as well as she got a lot of opportunities from her peers to act in their short films. So she became like the go-to main actress for all the short films that the youth was creating. So this actually gave a lot of opportunities to Tarika to improve her skills. And then just like Romesh, Tarika was also a recipient of the Shilpa Sayura scholarship to attend Risikala Art School. And then after that, she actually got selected to a premier aesthetic university, a government university, which is very competitive to get into. And she got into the University of Visual Arts, Colombo. Now she is a professional dancer and a model in her final year, completing a Bachelor of Visual Arts, Visual and Performing Arts. And then that's me. So Purnima Meegammana. So I'm also actually a beneficiary of the program. I was one of the first recruits of the Adobe Youth Voices program, and I learned a lot from the program. I got so many opportunities to collaborate and create with Adobe Youth Voices, and AYV actually built the foundation for my creative career. So as I mentioned earlier, for a lot of youth from middle class or lower income families, it's expensive to get private creative education. So that was the case for me too. And I was not in a position, even though I loved storytelling and design, I was not in a place to afford private creative education, and I also didn't get selected to the government university. But because of AYV and what I learned from AOID and what I created through AYV, I was able to get the Adobe Creativity Scholarship and study at one of the best design university in Sri Lanka, Academy of Design, which built a very strong foundation for the rest of my creative career. And I'm here speaking to you at CGRAPH, Diversity and Inclusion Committee. And for all this, the foundation was built by Adobe Youth Voices. So I'm very grateful for that. And that's why I included myself in the presentation. So these were just 5 stories, including myself. And there are hundreds of more stories like this from the past 8 years. So the creative ecosystem created by Shilpa Sayara Foundation in Sri Lanka produced award-winning youth film directors, TV series directors, graphic designers, animators, photographers, so on. And from rural, and these were all mostly from rural youth. Some of them have set up their own creative businesses, like I said, Romesh, and there's many more who had set up their businesses in different places. And AYV, if Adobe Youth Voices Sri Lanka program didn't exist, these youth wouldn't have entered the creative industry and wouldn't have got the opportunity to go on these journeys that they have gone on. So each and every one of them, with the background they have and the way they've grown up, they bring a unique set of experiences and skills to the industry. So as Shilpa Sayara Foundation, we hope to continue this journey, bringing more diversity into the creative industry in Sri Lanka, as well as taking quality creative education for the youth who don't have access to it. So that's about it for my presentation and about my work. So if I'm giving an open invitation, if anyone who is joining the talk today, if you'd like to partner with us, support us, or connect with us to continue this work, you're welcome to do so. My name is Purnima Meegammana. You can find me on LinkedIn, and that's our organization email address. Write to us so we can look at how we can collaborate and continue this work forward.
Thank you very much, Purnima. That was a very inspiring story, and how your program has provided a lot of impact, a lot of channels for success. It's a wonderful introduction to Sri Lanka, the creative communities and the multicultural communities. And thank you for sharing the accomplishments and success of the students, including yourself, that have been produced by being part of that particular program. So that program has been around for a little bit. And before I jump in and start sharing questions for you, I just wanted to point out that somebody from India, Siva Kumar, actually did a shout out to you.
Hello.
So my question was, you were one of the first recruits for this particular program, and you probably had an opportunity to talk to the developers of the program. Were there a specific point, or were they able to share why they realized that there was a need to develop this program?
So initially, so Adobe Youth Voices was a program by Adobe Foundation.
Mm-hmm.
So their focus was bringing creative education to more access to creative education for more youth, and getting youth to express themselves as well as talk about issues through media.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a grant, and the Shilpa Sar Foundation connected with them, and they started this program. So initially, Adobe Foundation, and taking it global, trained all the educators and everyone here to transfer that knowledge. And then they came into schools and asked if we like to be a part of the program, and so I joined, and then I continued my journey and then became an educator.
Right. Yeah. So I get the part two of that particular question is, since you've started, what were you're a filmmaker, you're an animator at this time, but what in your experiences made you realize that giving back to this particular program was necessary, and how did you make these changes? What have you incorporated?
So if you're talking about me, I was, before the program, I was actually volunteering for Shilpa Sar Foundation from the age of 12, 13. So with that, I was always used to giving back with the foundation. But when I talk about the other youth, because we are focusing so much on issues as well as human rights and sustainable development goals and democracy, that was, other than the creative education part, that was a big conversation throughout the program. So naturally, the youth that comes into the program, when they go through the program, they actually understands, okay, so I got this opportunity. It's kind of my duty. So not everyone. So handful of youth from the program actually shows interest in becoming educators. And they also when the educators a lot more when the beneficiaries in the program, and they get to make new friends. So that's kind of the motivation behind it for a lot of youth. But yeah.
So I actually brings down to your comment that diversity or participation in this program has become a medium of social change. And I really like that. So let me proceed with the first question. This one was posted by Diana. The question was, what was the major impact of that final short film produced in the audience and in the team? If you were able to track that or get some perspective on that one.
The short film that we showed?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So that short film, so the youth came up with that idea and they made the short film. They always, they stayed connected. So I was actually the director for the short film.
Right.
And then we showcased that short film, and there's many more. So all of these films and creatives, we tried to showcase them in street exhibitions. So every exhibition we do, we make sure that it's accessible to the public. So we do in train stations or public libraries, places like that. So it's access to the it's available to access to the public. And then we try to create more awareness through that. And within the youth, they actually creating that short film. After the discussions we had, it kind of made them think about street harassment in a different way. And majority of the youth that were in the production was girls. So for them, that's normal. That's day-to-day life, that happening. So that actually created a really good dialogue among the team, as well as when we did exhibitions, it created a dialogue among the people who saw the film. And using comedy as a medium to share this message actually stayed with the people to really think about it.
So the impact of the program is not just within the participants. You're sharing this with the community, and the community awareness, I would say, would bring back more to the program itself. So the next question is from Adam. So Adam was saying, what are the future goals for the program?
Okay, so right now we are looking at expanding, but with COVID-19, we had to completely change our model because we can't travel and bringing youth
Right.
into different places. So right now we have actually started some online programs, try to connecting youth, and also we have a smaller program which is more focusing on girls called Girls Youth Voices for Change, which is the similar model but more focused on girls. So those are the things that you're working on right now. So we actually expect to expand this to more places and get more youth involved and continue the process.
So I actually have a question on tracking. So for you right now, this is a perfect example of you giving back to the program itself by sharing your story to the rest of the world, the impact of this particular program to you personally. But how, if you look at the number of people who've gone through the program itself, have many come back and provided, services, or are you tracking them? Where are they now? So is that something that the program itself has been looking at?
Yes. So tracking, as in we keep track of them. So these stories, because the youth are so connected with each other and the program, so whenever they have something big happening to them, even though they are no longer part of the program, they always let us know, hey, I want this, I want that. So that we track them like that. And also at least 5 to 6 youth from each location actually contributed back in various levels. So some of them became educators, some of them just helped out for a year or two. So depending on their capabilities, a lot of youth gave back, and some of them actually still helping. So we have we have few 5-6 youth who were from the beginning, just like me. So now actually, and we also, another thing we did was throughout the programs, we identified leadership among the youth and we gave them management roles. So that's how actually I'm here, because Shilpa Sir offered me a director position at the foundation. So with that way, the youth actually see, okay, so I have, other than my career, so I can give something back and actually go on this journey as well.
Okay, so I think we have enough time for 2 more questions, and I'll bring the first one that's coming from Tony. And Tony is asking, how can ACM CGRAPH continue to assist in creating a voice for your work?
This was a big opportunity, actually, because this might be the biggest platform that we have talked about our work. So this was actually big exposure. And also, maybe we could collaborate on bringing some resources for older students, mentors, and something like that we could discuss.